On the 10th day of Axemas, my true love watched with me. Hey, and welcome to another 12 Days of Axemas. No, it's not Silent Night, Deadly Night. No, we're done with Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I'm overjoyed.
Yes, in fact, decided to go with something a little spooky. Wind Chill. One of those little known films that just happens to fall enough in Christmas to qualify. It's from 2007. I believe it's direct to video as far as I know.
I had never heard of it.
No, most people have not heard of Wind Chill. I had never heard of it until I saw it there, and I was like, ooh. I think I paid $3 for somewhere.
Was that at the dollar store?
I don't know where it was. It might have been in one of those used bins at like a Giant Tiger, maybe even at Canadian Tire. I don't know. But anyways, I saw it, and like, I mean, how could you not look at that cover? Well, focus, and want that? Like,
if it was $3, I probably would have bought it too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too big on the big red border around it with bonus digital copy thing on it. That just kills it. But whatever. That's beside the point. I'm not rating the DVD here. We are talking about the film itself, which is about two college students who are on their way home essentially for Christmas break. One is looking for a ride. The other one essentially posted a notice that, going in a certain direction, to which she answered the notice saying, you know what, that's the direction I'm going in. Can I, grab a ride with you? Not an uncommon thing when it comes to universities, because a lot of people actually come in from out of town for universities, and university students often don't have a lot of money. Getting rides with people whenever possible over holidays and stuff is actually very common. Very, very common. Especially
when it's, it's still like a stranger. It could be still a stranger, but it's not like it's from like a classified ad, somewhere else. When you see it at your own area, you feel like, oh, okay, you're one of your...
Yeah, generally, same age. Yeah. You're supposed to be going technically to the same spot. You don't necessarily know each other type thing. And most often, it does happen that there will just be two people going in the same direction, but often or not, like if somebody's going to an area, you're usually going to a large area. It's very rare that you'll have somebody posting, I'm going to this small town in the middle of nowhere. Is anybody here coming? No, because you probably know them. Right. If that's the case, you probably know every student from your little town who's going to your same school. So it's usually a bigger city. And so, it's often, you'll end up with 3, 4, a packed car, because honestly, the amount of money that you can save by doing that is quite a lot compared to taking a plane, taking a train, taking a bus.
And oftentimes it's probably more direct too.
Yeah, there's no stops, there's none of that kind of stuff, right? So as long as everybody's generally going to the same area, even if it's just, you get to the main area and then everybody goes their separate ways from that point. Like I said, it's very common. So that's essentially how the movie starts. And so they're going, it's winter, and the driver, the young man, decides to make a detour down Route 606. Should have been 666 almost. Like, it's so close.
Yeah, but that would have been too obvious.
Right? But something bad's going to happen as soon as he's like, detour, I'm going into this, oddly enough, plowed road. It was plowed, but still covered in snow. And eventually, crashes, and they end up stranded. And, nothing good happens when you get stranded alone. In winter. On a basically deserted road in the middle of nowhere with somebody you don't know. So, The film is directed by a guy who really is more known as a producer. He's only got 3 directing credits to his name, this being his second credit. And that's a Gregory Jacobs, who has produced a lot of movies, and a lot of movies you know. And the interesting thing is from this, he went on to direct Magic Mike XXL. Mm-hmm. Talk about a very, very different...
That's completely... I have not seen that movie. I don't really care if I see that movie. But so different.
So different. But when you find out that he's also the producer and he produced the original Magic Mike, it's almost like... Could they not get a director for the second Magic Mike? And then he's just like, I've directed movies, I'll be the director. Who knows? But, yeah, it's funny that, Wind Chill is his second credit, and then, boom, Magic Mike XXL.
Yeah, and it was a while later,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just a recent film, right? So, yeah, that was very, very...
It was surprising.
Very, very surprising. The film, like we said, there's 2... university, college age people in the film as the main actors. Female being played by Emily Blunt, who you should know. She's been in a lot of stuff. I think one of the more recent ones that she was in that people would know was... Oh, what the heck is the name of it? Edge of Tomorrow. That Live, Die, Repeat movie. Which I believe was produced by Gregory. So, but yeah, I mean, been in a bunch of other stuff. But Emily Blunt's not really the one that you have to worry about, because you know who she is now. And this was actually probably middle of her career, really. I think she'd done stuff before this that you would know, and she's done stuff after it. So it didn't kill her career, which often happens when you have one of these direct-to-video type things, But the other actor in here is a guy named Ashton Holmes, who, he's kind of a nobody. Mm-hmm. I only know him from one movie, and it's a movie I really like, called The Divide. Look it up if you've never seen it. I highly recommend it. And outside of that, I think he's done one-offs in television.
A lot of episodes of television, just one appearance.
Yeah.
But a lot.
So, and you know what? I thought and honestly, his performance in The Divide is even, is 10 times better than this.
Was that after this one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the performances in The Divide, that's one of the reasons why I really, really like it. It is very much everybody is, acting to the nines, they are completely out of character type people. So yeah, in this one he plays the role really well. And then obviously he knows what he's doing. So I mean he has a look. He has the look of somebody who should be in more films. Maybe he needs a new agent, I think, because
even watching it, I didn't know who he was or anything, but he does have the look of somebody, right? And it's has he been in something that I've seen?
That's the thing. I thought he was somebody else, to be honest with you. I was like, oh yeah, that's that guy from that movie. And I was like, I looked it up, he wasn't in that movie.
It could have been, though, because with the amount of TV shows, and they're ones that I have seen, so it's possible I've seen him in a lot of things and just don't know, right?
Yeah, true, but... I mean, most of the time, that's the kind of stuff doesn't stick with me, that one person, one episode of something, but, I mean, everybody, maybe it does for you, but, yeah, and honestly, I didn't even think about him in The Divide when I was watching, because I thought he was somebody else. I literally thought he was somebody else, and I couldn't remember the name, right? I couldn't remember the name of the guy I was thinking of, and I was like, yeah, he's in this movie, so when I pulled him up on IMDb, and I was like, it's not him?
But he was very good, and I liked his character, and he did a good job with the character.
Yeah.
Because he made me really like him.
Yes. Yes. And unfortunately, we can't go into what happens in the movie too much, because that will give away spoilers. And essentially, it's one of those things where it's... it's weird the way it plays out. It's got some twists, not major ones. You got a little creeped out.
I did. And actually, see, I actually liked this movie because, well, for, like, I don't even know what day this is of the days, right?
Around 10.
But for so long, for all of them, I wasn't scared.
No, they weren't scary movies.
And I wasn't scared in this one. However, there was at least 3 moments where I was like, oh, you know, kind of took me by surprise and, okay, a teeny bit scared or like 1 or whatever. Not like scared, but enough that I liked it.
Yeah.
You know? So I liked that because that hasn't happened yet, really.
No,
so
no.
it was a nice surprise.
No, yeah, it's not a comedy at all. There's no comedy to it. It is played. I mean, it's listed as a drama even in IMDb, right? So
I could see that.
Drama, horror, thriller. I think is the way they list it.
The horror part, I would probably go more with a thriller, a little bit. It's not really horror-ish to me.
You've got a very interesting definition of horror. That's all I know.
Yeah.
To you, it's like, unless I'm scared, it's not horror. Okay, I guess. But that's
killers going around.
Yeah. But no. So this one, it's the only thing. There was an aspect of it that you didn't like. It had as you called it, a Groundhog Day effect.
Yes.
You know?
Like that movie a long time ago, the comedy. I think it was a comedy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. Yeah. This reminded me of that. Completely not the same.
No.
But there was an element that reminded me like that. And that bugged me.
Yeah, now it's not like that, and that's funny because the producer did The Edge of Tomorrow, which is Groundhog Day. You know, sci-fi version of Groundhog Day. So it's interesting that he also did, you know, like he did this film, so he must like that. I bet Groundhog Day is like his favorite movie ever, if you asked him. But at the same time, it's not like either of those films in the sense that it's not just constantly repeated. No. But it is a theme in the film because they do bring up, I think it was Nietzsche's, one of Nietzsche's theories and philosophies about, you know, a person who just relives their life over and over and over and over again and never gets to live anything else. So it's not necessarily reincarnated because then you'd be something else. This is you'd be reincarnated but as yourself when you first started without, you know, and you just have to constantly relive the same thing over and over again. It's a concept that's out there, right? And this sort of plays on that a little bit. Though at the same time, they bring that up. It's in the film, but it's not the complete entirety of what's going on. I think it's close.
Drove me nuts, though. It's the whole thing.
Well, yeah, but even the theme, right? Like even the theme of what's going on and people being trapped in a having to relive the same things over and over again. It's weird because it sets a rule into place of this is your life and you live it over and over again. But then it breaks that rule. So it's like it gives you the rule, but the rule's only there for kind of a hint. Because the rule doesn't actually necessarily apply strictly to what's going on in the film. But it is a hint. So it's I don't know. I
found it interesting.
It's not terrible. Like it's not a terrible film, but I remember the first time I watched it, I wasn't impressed with how it was told. Like it's got that element of, you know, there's this history going on and you're sort of living it out. But usually when that happens is the person is trying to figure out what that history is in order to solve the problem. That's not the case here. No. But you kind of get indications that that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Right? And that's I think that's what bothered me the first time I watched it because that's what I was looking for, right? I was looking for them to figure out what was the past, what was the thing that they needed to change in order to, solve the riddle, solve the mystery, and come out alive at the end, right?
Yeah, there was nothing to
and
solve.
that's not what it is. So knowing that going into it, you may enjoy the film a lot more. No, it really is revolving around that idea of you're kind of stuck in this thing and you can't get out of it. You're now going to, essentially live that moment over and over again, forever. And it plays on that theme. Now, I did like the location. I did like how it was set out. Like the idea of it's sort of it. You get the kind of that wrong turn type of feel where you go the back roads and you're gonna end up in hillbilly town, and it's
that always makes me mad.
And you're you've taken that road that's way out of middle of nowhere. It's not on the highway, and it's gonna end up bad, right? And you figure Hicks are gonna come out of nowhere and they're gonna kill you. And that's the wrong turn type thing. No, this is it's winter. It is snowy, and you end up in an accident, and it almost has a feel of like Frozen. Not the Disney movie.
I know that.
Okay. The one where they're on the ski lift and they get trapped up there and it's winter. So it's like, how do you survive the night, right? And that has that feel going for it. And I really like that. It's one of the things I've always wanted Survivor to do. Is come to Canada and throw them out in the Arctic instead of being down in a jungle island or something.
Yeah, because that's hard.
That's surviving, right? Like,
I'm saying that like I've done it. Yeah, that's hard. I imagine how hard that is, what I should say.
They would need a little bit more gear than a bikini. Clearly. But, it's always something I always want. Ever since the first season of Survivor, I've always wanted them to do it. But no, they just keep doing the same Survivor over and over again.
Because they can't show all the sexiness.
They could have had a hot spring nearby. There's ways to do it.
Yeah, but they would make them do it like every single day, because otherwise...
Hey, who would not go to the hot spring every day if you were stuck out?
That should have been like a reward.
Well, there you go. See, that's how you get it. There's spa days or something.
Yeah. We're not signing up.
No.
No.
No, I wouldn't.
You can.
I wouldn't want to do that anyways. Or
no,
would I? But yeah, now
you're not signing up either.
we're off topic here, but no, it's I've always wanted like that whole surviving the winter type thing, right? And the winter elements, and I kind of like that, and I wish more films would do that. Like, was it The Grey? With the wolves does a little bit of that, and that's one of the aspects about it that I liked. There's a few movies out there. Most of them are wilderness survival type things. But this has a very, very sinister other element, other than just the weather and the cold that comes about and makes it a little bit more difficult for them to survive. So,
and I liked that in the beginning.
Yeah,
when
in the beginning.
When it was first introduced, I liked that because I was like, oh, okay, what's this now? What's going on, right? So I did like that. But then as it played out a bit, yeah, it was... not a really good... I don't know. I just feel like you said before, it should have been more, where they were trying to find out things, and it was just too loose. Like, I would have liked more history and stuff like that, and that wasn't there. So then once it got past the initial kind of surprise of, oh, something is going on, then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long to get to that.
No.
That moment, right? Because it's right off the bat. You're like, okay, something doesn't jive here, and as soon as you get the reveal moment of, hey, this is kind of what's going on. You don't even need the subsequent reveals of the small little added bits of history, because you've pretty much already figured it out, like the entire thing, outside of very specifics. And then they have flashbacks later. As to what was going on and stuff like that, and at this point it almost becomes a sort of like a creature film where they're trying to survive against this thing, but at the same time not, because they really only just stay in a car.
Yeah. But up until, you know, like right when I said there was like that surprise, right? Up till then, I was into it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And I was like, oh, this is good. Finally, something that I'm really liking, right? So I was excited, and I thought this is going to be really good. And then it just kind of dwindled a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So that was
and that's one of the things. It's the second half of the terror moments that really kind of didn't work for me when I first watched it. I think they worked a little bit better for me now, but you know, on subsequent viewing, knowing everything that's already, you know, going on and stuff like that. But if that's what needs to happen for you to enjoy a film, I don't know if that's a good idea. Now, we put this in the Christmas horror
because it's Christmas time.
Because, well, it's
they're on
weird.
their way to Christmas.
It's Christmas vacation. They're going for Christmas. They're talking about Christmas.
And that's it.
And Christmas songs play on the radio.
Yes, too.
In fact, one of the triggers is a Christmas song.
They picked the wrong song. I'm telling you.
Should have picked one you didn't like, right?
That's right. Because that really ticked me off.
So, which was odd because there was no real...
It wasn't related.
It wasn't related to what it was supposed to be a trigger for.
No. Because when you think about the flashbacks, that had nothing to do with Christmas time.
No, that was like summer.
So where did that song come from? It should have been like a Beach Boys song or something.
Exactly.
On, you know?
Exactly.
That would have made sense.
Exactly, and that's it. It didn't, other than the radio coming on by itself. But
I like that.
They listened to the radio, and there was other Christmas songs. So
yeah, there should have been a point. There should have been an explanation. What does this mean?
Yeah,
Why
there was no
there?
reason for it. There was no reason for it, and that's
just
one of
to tick me off. That was the reason.
That's it. It's in the credits if you didn't watch it. Special thanks to Leslie for picking the song.
Yeah, to be angry at. I can't listen to that. I can't listen to that now.
But yeah, that being said, there isn't much more you can say about this movie without giving too much away. So I guess we go to the ratings. What would you rate this film?
This is kind of hard because I want to go back to the other movies, right, and compare it to that, which I can't do because that's not fair. I liked it. It was not horrible, right? It held my interest for most of it. I liked the people in it. Like, I felt empathy, right? And I wanted to make sure, are they going to be okay? What's going to happen? So that I liked, because sometimes that doesn't happen and then it just ruins it for me. Like, what do I care, right? Kill everybody. I don't care. So I liked that. When it first started, I was like, because I do this now, I think in my head, what am I going to rate it? So I was thinking it's like a 3, because I like it. Then I was thinking maybe like 3.5, because then it kind of like, you know, I like doing that. So, but then it, you know, after the surprise happened, everything kind of dwindled, and I was like, oh, why? So I'm torn here. Because it is the kind of movie that, because I do this a lot, I just, you know, I search stuff on Netflix, and if this was on there, I'd totally watch it, right? And it is a lot better than a lot of the crap that I end up watching on Netflix. A lot better. So I probably would end up giving it a 3. Even though I'm not too happy with the rest of it, I probably would go with that because it had a lot of elements that I did like. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, for me, I'm probably going to go with a 2.5.
2.5?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think the first portion of the film is really well told. It's set up, it looks good, it's well acted. Like you said, the acting in this really conveys, and you can feel something for these people involved, which isn't always an easy thing to do. But, you know, it's done well enough in this film that it works. Where it tends to fall apart is where the film should have gotten really good.
Yeah.
and should have been creepy and should have been spooky and scary and interesting.
They could have done so much more.
And had your attention like right in there, going ooh, waiting for the next moment. But honestly, I didn't get that. Did not get that the first time I watched it. I was just like, okay, this is kind of boring. But now that I'm in a rewatch scenario like now, I'm watching it and all I'm seeing is bad direction. I'm seeing a director who didn't quite. He had an idea of what he wanted to do, but when he was trying to put it down, it didn't. The pieces didn't quite fit. The line wasn't a straight line across. It kind of jumped around a little bit, and he tried to make it fit by putting a little bend in here just to get it so that they attached. Because it's just one little thing to the next little thing to the next little thing, trying to tell this story, but it's that story they're trying to tell is it wasn't the best choice. But that being said, whether you like that story they were trying to tell or not, it's how it's told, and that's where it kind of didn't work for me. And that's all on the director. That's all on the director here, and it's clear from looking him up, he didn't have any experience. He knew how to make movies because he'd been producing movies, and big and small, so he knows what he's doing there. But when it comes to actually telling the story as the director and getting it down, he just didn't quite have the chops. Now, from what I hear from Magic Mike, apparently that has changed. People really like the Magic Mike stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that's why.
Guys who aren't gay, they actually like them because they're well-told stories. And they're funny and entertaining.
I don't think I'd watch it for the story.
No, you probably wouldn't.
But I wouldn't watch it anyway, so.
But, so, hopefully, maybe he'll come back and do another horror movie.
With a different story.
Well, yeah, not a remake or anything like that, but just come back and do another horror movie just to see if it, he has gotten better. Because there is a lot of elements in Wind Chill that really, really work. It just isn't the main portion of it.
So what would you say? Like, I would say, that recommend, right?
Would I recommend it?
Yeah. Because I would say I wouldn't seek it out, right? But if it was on, I would watch it. And you know what? If I found it on Netflix, I would probably watch it again.
You would watch it. You wouldn't be like, oh, I gotta watch the Wind Chill movie, but browsing across, Wind Chill came up. You'd play it right off the bat. You'd read it and you'd be like, yep, not a problem. I'm watching that.
But I would probably watch it again.
Right.
Just because I probably would. It's not great where I'm like, oh, I have to watch that.
Yeah.
But if it was on TV or whatever, I would probably watch it again. So I would just say watch it if it's on.
Yeah, it's definitely your type of film.
That
for
makes
me
look bad.
No, because of the subject matter and the kind of film it is, right? For me, I would not recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, honestly. There are better films out there.
You brought it for me to watch.
It's part of the 12 Days of Axemas. I have a certain amount of films that are available. You got to pick and choose. So yeah, I mean the other ones were pretty much all slasher films, sort of. 2 kids movies and.
Yeah, okay. You saved the good ones for me that you don't want to recommend. Okay.
Well, no, I wouldn't recommend this because there are better films out there.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
There just simply are. If you're going to recommend something, it's not like, oh, would you have a movie you recommend? It's not like I'm going to pick up.
No, I'm not
you know what I would
either.
say? I would say the only way I'd recommend Wind Chill is if you're looking for a Christmas horror movie that Leslie would like.
Who's gonna say that?
Nobody. That's why I'm not going to recommend it.
You're acting like I'm saying, go out and watch this. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not recommending that you go, oh, I need to watch this. No, I'm just saying if it's on, It won't kill you, you know.
Yeah.
You can watch it.
I wouldn't even go that far. But you rated it higher than I did, so makes
Half
sense.
a point.
A half a point makes a big
point.
difference. I'm at 50%. You can't recommend 50%.
I say you can.
But you were at 60.
We're always like a half a point off. And now you can't. Ugh, whatever.
I could recommend a 1-star. I'm not joking. Like
Yeah, exactly. But this you will say, no, don't watch it. Come on.
No, I wouldn't recommend Wind Chill. I simply would not.
So, if somebody stumbles upon it and it's just on their cable one time, you're going to say, turn it off. That's what you're going to say.
I would say turn it off unless it's the only thing on. I just think there's almost always going to be something better to watch.
No, not when you're in bed looking through Netflix. No, there isn't. Trust me.
But there's so many more things that I would watch than you would watch. I mean, when you don't want to watch sci-fi or action or fantasy films.
Yeah. Who watches that?
I mean, there's only so many dramas and comedies that are going to be on there, and most of them kind of stink anyways. Right? So, when you're stuck looking for a horror film and you pull it up and it's all direct-to-video, a lot of it really, really bad.
A lot of it is
you
bad,
know,
yes.
Then yes, eventually you get to something like Wind Chill and you're like, oh my god,
I wouldn't
it's a shining light in the beam.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got to that. Eventually, I would have watched that before the other crap.
Well, it does have a pretty good cover.
I probably would have fallen asleep. In line with that.
You know what? You would have gotten to the point where it was actually starting to get to the spooky, and you would have fallen asleep before then. So you would have been like, "Oh, I was watching this really interesting movie, and I fell asleep before I got to the good part."
I don't say that. What are you talking about? I've never said that.
No. Anyways, there you go. It's Wind Chill. Obviously, it's a mediocre down the middle. So, yeah. Do what you will with it. If you're looking for a Christmas horror film that's not a slasher, I'll give you the recommend for it.
Oh.
Because there aren't many of them out there. So, till next time, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.